Okay, what's going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new episode of Energized. Today, we have a very special guest on the show.
We have the creator and face of Irish Football Fan TV, Mr. Paul Nealon, on the show. Paul, the Premier League is back. How excited are you for it?
Well, it's been a long time coming, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We're months waiting to get back with the likes of the Bundesliga, La Liga, Serie A back now. It's great to finally actually have our own teams that we support back now, albeit, and I know we'll get to it, we play Liverpool for the first game. But it's great just to see, players that we're more familiar with back as well. And obviously Irish players within that bracket will be back as well. So, yeah, really looking forward to it and can't really wait now to get underway.
Yeah.
Yourselves?
Yeah, obviously, I can't wait for the comeback. I don't think it should have came back, but it's coming back, so I can't say anything about it. But obviously, for people that aren't aware of your work, Paul is the face of Irish Football Fan TV, and he's doing an amazing job over there, having some amazing interviews. And we'll make sure to tag the interview we had with Paul beforehand. We did a few weeks ago as well. So some people really enjoyed it, so you can check that out at the end. But Paul, you did bring up some Irish players coming back. The Euros is not going down. Do you think this is actually a good thing for Ireland?
Yeah, I do think, because obviously Stephen Kenny's going to come in now as manager and Mick's gone. So before coronavirus happened, Mick was destined to be the manager. We were going to be going into the Euros, and it would have been happening now, like today, I think. But yeah, I think it's a good thing because it gives Stephen Kenny more time to look at players as well. And if it is a case of promotions for this season, he could have some players coming up next season to the Premier League with other clubs as well. And it gives them a chance to look at more players, and it gives other players more kind of time to get up to standard if they need to or whatever. Like, you could have some players there that might not have felt like they were that far away from the playoff squad, but now with that extra bit of experience between now and, I don't know, September or wherever it is our next game will be for the national team, is that they could have the experience by then. Malumbi and these likes as well, he'll probably be back at Brighton. Whether they're in the Premier League now is another thing, which I'm sure we'll come on to. But yeah, I think it is it's a blessing in disguise in some ways. But I was a bit like yourself. I kind of would have rather seen Liverpool just given the title and start fresh next season, because usually by now the league is done, transfers and everything else. It's just kind of a big backlog now and a big mess, But yeah, well, I think in ways for our team, as a selfish kind of point of view, I think it is a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I agree. Ross, what about yourself?
Yeah, well, I'm just glad it's back for my own entertainment point of view. Obviously, being a Man United fan, Man United were very hot coming into this long break. I was looking forward to seeing them play. I suppose with the break and play now, United have got some of their key figures back, like Rashford and Pogba. I think a lot of squads will be back to full complement, but whether they stay back to full complement for a long time seems quite unlikely. As you've seen in the German league, there's a far higher injury rate at the moment with the game, so it will be interesting to see who stays fitter the longer. But look, football's back. It's such an outlet for everyone to have a look at, and I'm delighted it's back. And I'm not going to harp on why maybe I thought it shouldn't have come back, because it is back.
Yeah.
So let's enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, go on, Barry.
Yeah, obviously, it's back. The thing is, as we've seen in other leagues, there's been no fans in the games. How do you think that's going to affect the league, lads? Paul, may as well start with you. How do you think it's going to affect the league?
Well, I don't know. I think I heard some people saying it might favour Man City a bit more, because they're saying it's not that full most of the time, even when they're winning stuff. But the likes of Liverpool, I think it might affect them. I know they're home majority at this rate, aren't they? But I think for their performance, a lot of it, their crowd really intimidates other teams when they go there, and to not have that, I think, is a big disadvantage for them now. They're kind of lucky in a sense that they're coming to the end of the season, and it would take something horrendous for them to throw it away. But I think in that regard, looking around other teams, I think teams that are in the relegation battles, I think they'll probably be better for it than, I suppose, teams going maybe for top four or whatever. I think Owen Hargreaves said it the other day on the Bundesliga show. It's when you're going into the last 10 minutes and you're pushing on in the game, and the crowd usually give you that lift. The crowd aren't there, so it's up to the players then to kind of show and give themselves that lift, So I'm not a fan of having no fans at games. It's probably similar to, I know you cover fighting in the UFC. I like the energy of a crowd or whatever. But I think if you to ask the players, they just want to get out and play at this point. They're just driven mad.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be pros and cons. So I think the pros obviously is you're going to probably get a closer feel to hearing on the pitch what's going on, what the players say to each other. You'll get that insight. But again, it's going to look like when someone scores a goal, it's going to be like training. The team all jump on top of each other and that's it. But you can't beat when someone runs over to their home fans after scoring a last minute winner and they're in the stands with the fans basically when it happens, and there's some magic moments when that happens. I feel now it will feel less magical.
Yeah, it's going to be weird looking at it now. Just a quick prediction: do you think that more people are going to watch the first game, Aston Villa against Sheffield United, or do you think more people are going to be tuning in for the first game of the Bundesliga because that got huge ratings as well?
Well, I feel like it's probably more in comparison. Most people watch Arsenal versus City. I think the ratings for that game will be huge. And I think it will probably outdo the Schalke versus Dortmund game. But I think you have to, if you want to do like for like, you almost have to do in terms of fixtures, in terms of qualities of opponents. I think that's it. Put it this way, if Paderborn were playing at home to Stuttgart, I don't think that would have done, blockbuster ratings.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. Yeah. Would you agree, Paul?
Well, I think the fact that was a derby, wasn't it? So I think that's kind of why people were a bit more tuned in for that. And it was at that point we were completely, frozen out of football altogether. It was absolutely nothing to look forward to. But I think, as Ross said, Sheffield United and Aston Villa, it doesn't scream goals. It doesn't scream, the most glamorous football. But I think at this point, people just would like to see the Premier League football. Ross said there about, getting an insight to kind of what players would be saying. I know we've heard German people saying stuff on the pitch, but we don't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
Whereas now with the Premier League, you'd probably be able to make out what the lads are saying to each other. I remember I was at a game earlier on this season, and it was Arsenal and Watford, and it was 2-2, and we were like literally 2 rows from the front, and Ben Foster and I think Bernd Leno was in goals, so we were right beside the net, and you could hear what they were saying to each other at corner kicks and all. I think that was really cool. I think if you can kind of get an insight in that, it might be cool. But in terms of ratings or whatever, I'll obviously be tuned in because I always like to see how our Irish lads are getting on, and especially Sheffield United. I think we'll come to that in a little bit, kind of the European places. I'd love to see them get in there. So I'll be kind of watching with eager eyes to see how the likes of John Egan and then the Stevens and Didsey kind of get on,
Yeah, shout out Didsey. He's on a new contract there till 2022. Lads, a couple of things I do want to drop in before we actually go into sort of games and stuff. There's set to be 9 substitutes in each game, right?
9?
9.
I thought it was 5.
Well, that's what they're talking about now. And the thing is, everything is going to be way more focused on. Okay, so obviously the Premier League is going to be way more focused on. Everything is going to be highlighted, because they're going to have no fans, so everything is going to be focused on the pitch and the subs. So there is going to be a choice of 9 subs. You can make 5 substitutions as well. Looking at certain things, everything's going to be more highlighted. You're going to have way more players on the bench. More players are going to be upset by not coming on. What happens if you're a player also who doesn't get picked in the squad? This is you're going to really get to see the behind the scenes sort of stuff. So, Paul, obviously, there seems to be serious unrest with Spurs and Jose Mourinho. So, how do you think this is going to affect when you look at the Spurs team and all this sort of stuff going on, and you get to see player not coming on? What's going to happen?
Well, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? Mourinho, he's so marmite. I think it's even the same way with players that he plays with. Some people absolutely love him and some people absolutely hate him. And he's burnt a lot of bridges over the years. So, yeah, as you say, we'll be interested in that regard to kind of see. And you'll probably be able to hear more of what they're saying back to him, as he's coming off the pitch or whatever. Or if they don't like him, they might make it a point. Because there's so much player power now that they might make it a point to kind of make him look like a fool a little bit.
Yeah, also the way his first game's against United. Yeah.
Well, I think as well, Spurs, they're not the same sides as they were. Possibly, I didn't think they were that good last season either. I know they got to the Champions League final, but they kind of scraped that win against Ajax in the semis. I just didn't think they were. You go back a couple of seasons and they were unbelievable with Eriksen and that. They don't really have those types of players. I think they'll be looking more so. Maybe Mourinho more so will be looking more so towards the transfer window and just kind of getting the season over and done with at this point. Whether he falls out with people, I don't think he's any stranger to fall out with people, so I don't think that's going to phase him too much. But he needs results, doesn't he? So it's going to be based on that as well. So I don't really know kind of what to make of Spurs at the moment, but we'll have to kind of see how they get on. And so many teams are playing so much more different than they were before the break. And obviously all the momentum's gone from anyone. So you don't know what way teams are going to kind of feel out. And I think this week will be a good marker for next week then when we do another one on it.
Yeah, Ross, what do you expect them to look out for here at the matches as well? Because obviously we're going to be watching 11 versus 11, but like sort of as I touched on, players are going to, like, if they start throwing the shirts away for coming off as a sub and all this sort of stuff, you know, like what do you sort of what do you think people should look out for?
Well, I think one thing that's going to be very clear is that the transfer window is going to open basically as soon as the Premier League closes. So if you were looking for a transfer, this is the perfect time to put yourself in the shop window, put your hand up for that transfer. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to be so hot, and then, you know, the transfer window is going to open straight away. So I think if you're looking for a move away, you know, throwing a tantrum or you know, kicking over water bottles isn't your best option whatsoever. So I think, you know, players probably be on their best behaviour. And look, Dele Alli went out and he did his video about the coronavirus or whatever, and then he got 1 match ban. So, you know what I mean? Like, players want to be on their best behaviour, otherwise, you know, the FA don't mind throwing out bans left, right, and centre.
Yeah. Also, if you've seen in certain games, also in Germany and in Spain, for instance, players have taken a knee after a goal or pulled the top up and showed something about like Black Lives Matter. I expect a lot of that people to pull their tops up and have messages on their tops, like especially someone like Sterling, who's very outspoken. Marcus Rashford has done amazing things over the last couple of months. You know what I mean? Paul Pogba, for instance, I'm sure he's dying to get a goal, and there's going to be a lot of like attention on this. So this is like the perfect time for people to speak out against stuff that shouldn't even exist.
Well, I think as well they're going to have, Spurs are going to have Harry Kane back, which they had no strikers, remember, before the coronavirus kind of outbreak as well. Rashford's going to be back for United as well. So I think in some ways as well, you know, there will be positives to take that so many players that were injured will be coming back. And as you said, Rashford and the likes have done amazing things on social media and so on, which a lot of players get criticised for. So it's great to see him getting the kind of recognition that he deserves, you know.
Yeah. Is there...
I was going to say, I do think on that game, that's like a top 4 make or break for Spurs. If Spurs lose that game, like, I don't think they have any possibility of making top 4 after that.
Yeah.
Lads, obviously it's coming back and we are very excited. And like almost every team should have a full complement of players. What sort of players are you looking out for and you're excited to see? Obviously, like myself and Ross are both Man United fans, so like saying the return of Paul Pogba would be a funny one. But Paul, you're a neutral here, so what sort of players are you looking forward to seeing back in the Premier League?
Well, Rashford for one, because when he's fit, like most of the time, he's scoring, and he seems to be the main man for us at the moment. Well, before he got injured, you know, Lukaku went in the summer, and then kind of there was no one really there, or no one was officially named as the man to be the main person for United, and he's kind of stepped up. And he got a bad injury, and I think they were saying he was going to be ruled out for the Euros and stuff like that. And now he's back, so I think that's a huge boost for the likes of United. I was actually liking Fernandes, Bruno Fernandes. Was really thinking he was starting to actually do good things for United, and he was giving Man United fans a bit of hope, because I think before he came in, there was just they had no hope. They were kind of clutching at straws.
Stop bringing it in, man, will it?
Well, they were just saying that, like you know, someone like McTominay is getting a lot of plaudits and stuff like that. Now, when your defensive midfielder is getting a lot of plaudits, you know, something's not going right at the other end of the pitch in terms of scoring goals. Not that he's a bad player or anything like that. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is, usually Man United are known for, you know, scoring goals, creative play type things, not their defensive midfielders. And I think Fernandes kind of gave that, and he was scoring goals, and then he was shushing Pep Guardiola and stuff like that. I think he'll go down really well with United fans, and if he can finish the season strongly. But I think playing him, I don't know what way if Ole will play, you know, Pogba and Fernandes in the same team. But I mean, if I was coming up against them, I'd be quite worried.
Yeah. Any other teams? Any other players off any other teams that you look forward to seeing back?
There's no one really that kind of jumps out at me, because I've seen them all this season. Do you know what I mean? It'd be different if it was coming off the back of a transfer window more so. You know, I love watching Man City when they're in full swing, Kevin De Bruyne and stuff like that. So those types of players, yes. You know, I'm not going to lie, I do not like Liverpool, so I do not want to see them, but they do play unbelievable football. I mean, you can't deny it. They are champions in waiting. So I'm not looking forward to seeing them. But the likes of, I just want to see like Everton players back. I want to see Richarlison banging in some goals again. I love him. Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well has been amazing this season. So these types of players, but that's just my own bias. You know, if you're kind of looking from a neutral perspective around the league, there's no really that, you know, I would like to see someone like Aaron Connolly scoring some goals for Brighton, but that's purely from an Irish point of view, and Obafemi maybe for and Shane Long for Southampton. But other than that, I want to just see football back firstly, and then I'll kind of worry about the players, if you know what I mean. Well, who are you looking forward to?
One person who I'm looking forward to, like I'm probably not supposed to be allowed to say I'm looking forward to. I'm actually looking forward to seeing Leroy Sané back. I think he's an absolute unbelievable player, and he's basically missed the entire season. And
is he back though? Yeah.
Apparently so. Yeah.
Well, I am excited to see him, Ross. Yeah, so thanks for telling me that.
No worries, and I actually think he would have made the title battle a lot closer if he was there, because like he just terrorized defenders, especially if he's back for that Arsenal game, because like he actually like pisses all over them. In terms of other players, like obviously there's like, you know, the United players Bruno, Pogba, and Rashford, Martial. I'm like looking to see how they all work on the one pitch. And again, like I always do keep an eye out on the Irish players. But it'd be I have a few interests down the bottom of the table, like you know, for Brighton, how do Aaron Connolly and your man Mopai do? Can Pookie get his shooting boots back on and save the day for Norwich? What's Eddie Howe going to do with Bournemouth? And then like I'll just keep a good look on Sheffield United, just because they have a good Irish contingent, and Chris Wilder has been playing unbelievable football for such like a mediocre team, and I'd say 90% of any pundits' predictions had Sheffield United at the foot of the table at the start of the season as well. Yeah. Also, United have to get above Sheffield United.
A couple of questions, lads, as well. The Premier League Player of the Season award, I don't think has been awarded yet, or they haven't taken all the votes in for that. So obviously Van Dijk and Henderson are probably pushing each other to see if they get it, and Mane. Another person, Jack Grealish, like he's going to be moving. He's going to want to move at the end of the season. Let's see what he can do when he comes back. Because like that story is very interesting. And then Harry Kane as well. After saying that he wants to go on to bigger and better things, he's going to have to come out and score goals. So there's a lot of pressure on him. But I think before we go into our predictions for who's going to get top 6, we should probably predict who should get relegated, lads. If you just want to jump onto the tables there. At the moment, it is Norwich at the bottom.
I think they're gone.
Yeah, Norwich are on 29 games, 21 points. 19th is Aston Villa, 28 games, 25 points. Bournemouth are third last on 29 games, 27 points. Watford are joined with them. West Ham are joined with them as well. And then Brighton in 15th have 29 games, 29 points. So, like, realistically, things can change now, because who knows who's been eating the burgers and who's been training. But it's looking like Brighton, West Ham, Watford, Bournemouth, Aston Villa and Norwich are going to go for the chop. Who wants to go first, lads, on who's getting relegated? Because I'm going to write this down now. Okay. You've been nominated.
Look, I definitely think Norwich are dead cert to go down. Look, I just don't think they have any Premier League quality players. Maybe Bar Cantwell and Pookie. That's probably about it for me.
Aaron's as well.
Yeah, Max Aaron's actually brilliant right back. But that's about it. I think their team like has a smell of championship off them. So I don't think they'll do much. Then if you look at Aston Villa, I think if you take Jack Grealish out of that team, you know what I mean, there's not much left bones to pick at. You know, Conor Hourihan's a decent player, but they don't have strikers. John McGinn's actually good as well, but they don't have strikers. And if you don't have strikers to score goals, then you're not going to stay up in the Premier League. It's been shown time and time again. And I think the third team to go down, I actually have a sneaky suspicion it's going to end up being Brighton this year. I do like Brighton. They're very, very solid at the back. But I don't know if Neil Mopai and Aaron Connolly can score enough goals to keep them up. They have struggled on the goals front. First, all the teams have down there. But I think Nigel Pearson has done the relegation battle before for Watford. David Moyes done the relegation battle before. And Eddie Howe has sort of, you know, always been in relegation. But I think he sort of escapes the last 5-10 games. This is the worst relegation Bournemouth battle they've been in since they've been promoted. But I think Brighton are going to be the team to go down. I think they have the least quality of the 4 sides. Paul?
I think, as you said about Norwich, you have 3 players that you think there that kind of stand out. Aston Villa actually have a game in hand on them, what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
So if Villa win that, I think Norwich are gone. I think it actually could be a good thing for again, from an Irish point of view, if they get relegated next season. I think Adam Ida could be their star man in the Championship, which could be good for us. So I think either way, I think they're gone at this point. Then you're kind of looking at Villa, Bournemouth, Watford, West Ham, and Brighton. The thing is, I have to say the job Nigel Pearson's done with Watford has been amazing, considering when I went to watch them against Arsenal earlier on in the season, they were losing every game. And they were hammered, and they were changed managers like 3 times before January. And he came in then, and he's really turned the ship around. They look dead cert to be gone by January, and he came in, and now I know they're hovering above the spots, but I think they'll actually stay up. So I think you're looking between Villa, Bournemouth, West Ham, and Brighton. And before the break, I kind of have close relations with West Ham fan TV, and they were all pretty much saying that they think that they're done and they're going to go down. So it's mad when you hear from that point of view. I think Brighton, if they can start off the first couple of games with some positive results, I think they could stay up, because they've got some decent players in there with Davy Proper, Pascal Gross, and stuff like that, who can set up goals. But it's, as you say, goals and getting players into position to score the goals. I think you said that about Villa. For me, I don't even think Jack Grealish is all that, and that's not any bitterness or anything like that. Like, I just, if he was that good, Villa
why would you be bitter?
What?
Why would you be bitter? I'm on joking.
Yeah. But like, I look at Villa and I go like, okay, they got to a League Cup final, but they got beaten, didn't they, by City's pretty much reserves. But if Jack Grealish was all that, Villa wouldn't be where they are. In terms of Bournemouth, I'd be more fearful of them. So if I was kind of picking, it'd probably be as it is, bottom 3 there, Villa and Bournemouth. And if I could probably see Bournemouth somehow jamly scraping it, and someone like West Ham going down, which is mad to say because of the squad West Ham have actually built. I think Brighton will stay up. I'm kind of more hopeful than anything else, but I think Shane Duffy, obviously his father's passed away and stuff like that, so I think he'd be more eager to kind of finish the season strongly as well.
You get back into the team.
I think he will, yeah. But it's at this point they're kind of in survival mode, Brighton, so they might have to just go back to the Chris Hughton tactics. But again, if you're looking at that and why Chris Hughton got sacked, he played, or he finished similar enough to what they're in now last season. Do you know what I mean? So it's not really much of a change for him to have got sacked for, Right. But that's I'd probably go with that. The bottom 3 as it is now, I'd probably say.
All right, Barry, gives your 3 there now.
I know.
Don't be you know what? Barry's real tactical. He makes us go first, listen to our inside information, and then goes, actually, now I'll pick.
All right. Okay. First team to get relegated. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to go with Everton.
Hey.
I want to joke. I'm going to go right. I'm just after listening to both of you. I'm going to come out with another sort of spin. The sort of harmony in the team, because who's been doing the Zoom calls together? Who's been sort of hyping each other up? Who's been like, we're in it till we die sort of attitude? And one team I don't think are going to be like that is West Ham. I don't think they're all like in it on the same boat together. So I'm going to go with West Ham. I think Watford have that. So I think Watford will stay together. And I think Bournemouth have that as well. I think experience is going to come down to it as well. So I'm going to go with relegation, West Ham, Aston Villa, and Norwich. Just based on Norwich and Aston Villa don't really have this experience. They don't have the dogfight experience. So I'm going to go for West Ham, Aston Villa, and Norwich. So
we'll say that David Moyes has had, a fair few relegation battles, and I wouldn't overlook him.
He's come out the better side.
Most of the time, obviously that time in Sunderland he got relegated, but they were destined to go down. Like, they were awful.
Yeah, but that was the most poisoned chalice in football.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. But who knows? They could go either way as well, with no fans booing them the whole time. They'd be like, you know what, we'll actually try and win, lads.
There's something about that West Ham team. I actually think they have most class in the team. If you know what I mean, like Felipe Anderson, Noble, Rice, Mikel Antonio,
Yarmolenko.
Yeah, Yarmolenko, Ogbonna at centre half, and Diop are like two absolute brutes.
Haller as well.
Yeah. If he could actually find the shooting boots, I think he left them in Germany. He might have to go back and get them.
Yeah, well, lads, like put it this way: we all went for Norwich and Villa, and then Ross went for Brighton, Paul went for Bournemouth, and I went for West Ham. You know, so we're all in different boats here. So obviously, if you're checking us out now, let us know who you think is going to get relegated, because we're going to move into the top 6, and then honourable mention for 12 for Everton. So right now it's looking like from 9th up to 1st, the teams are on over 40 points. So we'll be starting 9th.
Yeah, well, we'll start with 9. We'll all just give a few sentences on Arsenal.
Yeah, okay, so Arsenal 9th, they're currently on 40 points. You know, I mean, a couple of wins and they could be back in action. Obviously, they lost in their friendly, Pasodi United, and friendlies mean nothing. But Paul, do you want to take this away? Arsenal coming 9th, what do you sort of expect with 10 games to go for the Gunners?
Well, I think Arsenal is still kind of in transition as well, with Arteta only coming in not long before the break. He's still kind of getting his team together. Like, Arsenal have quality players. Like, you look at their strikers, they have Aubameyang, Lacazette, and even your man Pepe, who came in the summer, who looks to really be kicking on. Well, he was after a bit of a slow start. But like, with Arsenal, you never know what you're going to get with them. The most inconsistent team ever. Like, you think that they're going to go do really well, and they're coming 9th. Obviously, that was down to the previous manager. I think, like Everton at the minute, Arsenal are a bit in transition. You know, two of them kind of got the managers around the same time. So it's just, I think Arteta's just trying to find his feet. This is his first real management job. So I think it's going to take him time. But I think, you know, this will be a good tester for him to see who he wants to keep and who he wants to get rid of. And I think that's more so what this will be, more of an experiment for them than really pushing on. I think, you know, they might finish in the top 6, but I think they'll really have to push themselves hard if they are going to do that.
Yeah, I do agree with you. There is definitely quality in the squad they have at the moment. There's loads of rumours going around that Aubameyang, Lacazette, David Luiz are all gone this summer. If they are, Arsenal are going to have a very long, hard look at themselves and see where, you know, their next superstars are going to come from. But look, Mikel Arteta seems to know what he's doing. They won 3 and drew 2 of their last 5 games in the Premier League. The only problem with them is that they come up against Man City next, and Man City seem to be their kryptonite. So a loss there is going to make it very hard to sort of win the remainder of their games to, you know, challenge for that sort of top 4, top 6 spot. But anything is possible. They have the quality to get there. I just think they'll finish sort of 7th. I think they'll finish just that bit outside.
There's going to be, like, it's so funny how all these players have been off and they've been earning massive wages and coming into these games, last few games, the professionalism is going to really, really be like judged. And
yeah, who's coming in with the pot belly?
Yeah, but it's just everything, like, just like everything is going to be so much more hyper focused. Like everything, everything is going to be picked at in these few games. I can't see Arsenal getting into that top. Will they get in the top 6? I don't really know at the moment. Can you see them getting top 4, lads?
No. Definitely not top 4. No,
definitely not top 4.
Not a hope.
Well, they're 8 points off Chelsea. Okay, Spurs, like Jose Mourinho, the tactical master. Do you think he still has it in him? Because like a good win for any of these teams will like is a great way to start off coming back. Because if you come back 3 losses, you're out of the game. Paul, like, what's the story of Jose Mourinho? Do you think he still is he still a special one, or is he turned into the forgotten one?
I think you know, I think he's a bit outdated now. I think I put out a tweet the other day just looking at his Inter side that he built back there, 2009, 10, that time frame. And the team he built there, like, he had the likes of Sneijder, Etu, and all that type of thing. Really, really good players who work really hard for the team. And
men,
you know, I know. Sorry,
men.
Yeah, well, I look at the team he has now, and I just look at some of them are kind of like getting to a point where they're just a bit stale at the club, like Vertonghen, Alderweireld, these types of players who are really good, but I think they could probably do with a fresher challenge in their lives or careers, and go on somewhere else, and maybe he gets in his own players next season. Again, it's similar in a way to Arteta, where he'd be looking to see who's going to perform from who he can get rid of. I think if he has his way, I think he might look to offload Harry Kane for a big hefty chunk and then be able to spend that on players that he would like to. But you don't know whether Levy's going to give him the money to spend on who he would have probably been told and given assurances that he'd be allowed to spend money, otherwise he wouldn't have taken the job. But when have you ever known Mourinho not to take a job where he's not allowed to spend money since Porto days? He's gone everywhere, and he's had a big windfall of money, and he's been able to go out and buy whoever pretty much he wants. Now, I know I spoke earlier about how he burnt bridges and stuff like that. So, but the players that would kind of be hesitant to go to him now more so than ever, because he has a bit of a rep, and his time at United didn't end too well. He seemed to be falling out with everyone here and there, and I think with player power, I think he's kind of fell victim to that a little bit, because he likes to be the one in control, and now he doesn't have the control over the players. I think the players have the control of the dressing room more so than when you look at Klopp and Guardiola, you can tell that they have a reign over them, but the players love them. They love to play for them. They love everything about them. But I think Mourinho if you do anything wrong on Mourinho, I think he can just change his tune to it altogether and doesn't warm towards it anymore. I've read stories of players being injured and he doesn't talk to them and stuff like that, which is just a bad way to go about. So, sorry to go on so long, but it's going to be a case of, I think, if he needs his players to perform from minute go, and if they don't, I don't even see them. I see them finishing 7th or 8th of where they are now. I don't really see them pushing on too much. Other teams around them, I think, are playing better or were playing better. So
yeah. Also, he seems to come into a team and do well when he has a lot of men ready to go, not really younger kids, and he doesn't like giving the young lads a go. Even like Troy Parrott, when he said that he didn't even have another striker, and Troy Parrott's just sitting there being like, "Cheers, boss." But Ross, what do you sort of expect from Spurs now? They're coming 8th. Like, Mourinho's had a tactical genius, obviously, coming into this game against United. Like this, if this doesn't get him, if that game doesn't get him up and going, like, what game will?
Now, these sort of comments could come back to bite me, because Spurs might go out and do United, but I look at Spurs and just go, that club was like lost their meaning. They got to the Champions League final, and I look at the things they did, like getting rid of Trippier and then using Sergio Aguero as a right back doesn't cut the cheese for me. I prefer Danny Rose at left back than I did Ben Davies. Vertonghen and Alderweireld, like, absolutely fabulous centre halves, but obviously they were pissed off at some stage that they weren't getting new contracts. So, like, who knows if their heart's fully there at the club. Lloris got injured, so, like, is he going to be the same Lloris as he was before? And Dembele, is permanently at the drive-through McDonald's. So he seems like he was a bad signing from Lyon, record signing for them. They sold Ericsson, never replaced him. I think Son's brilliant. Lucas Moura seems to be a very talented player, but they don't seem to give him a solid run the team. And then I said to you all the time,
I love how you're naming the whole starting 11.
but then, this is what I think of the Spurs squad. And then I've said to you plenty of times, I think Harry Kane is like the second coming of Michael Owen, and I think his best days are behind him. I think his injuries have sort of really come to tipping point, and I don't think Harry Kane will ever score 25 Premier League goals in a campaign ever again. I just don't think he has it in him to do that. So I don't think Spurs are going to be competitive for the top 6 this season.
Paul, what do you think of
that? Bit strong. I remember when Shearer was kind of coming towards the back end of his days and kind of changed his game a bit. Under Bobby Robson, he came in and changed his game and kind of made him the focal point rather than him doing all the running and so on again. But I don't know, because the game has changed so much. It is about pressing and all these types of things. So Ross, you could be right, but I wouldn't be going that strong on it at the moment, because as you say, it could come back to bite you. But I think one thing I didn't pick up on was Lloris being back. I think he'd actually be a big difference from, because Gazzaniga, I think his name is. I think he's woeful, absolutely woeful. Like, so I think having Lloris. Sorry,
I don't think either is great, to be honest.
Well, he's that captain though, isn't he? Well, he was
World Cup winner.
When Kane was injured, I think Lloris was the captain. So I think you spoke there about men, Barry, before. So I think having someone like Lloris back in there and marshalling the defence is what they kind of need right now, and especially Mourinho. So I think it's this thing with Mourinho, isn't it? You just don't know what you're going to get. He's fallen out with so many players in the last clubs he's been at. Since he came back to the Premier League with Chelsea that time, and he won the league, and then he fell out with everyone. And he fell out with the physio, Eva Carnero. He fell out with her. of a run onto the pitch. Then he
Fair
fell
play
out.
to her, the only physio who people know her name in the entire world.
Yeah, that's true as well. But that's because she was a doctor as well. So I think she was actually looking after all the players' children when they were sick and stuff like that. So I think that's how that all backfired on Mourinho when he decided to go hell for leather rather. And then at United, that went, topsy-turvy for him there as well. So I think he really needs to be careful how he handles this Spurs job, because if it goes tits up again, he won't get another job in England, I don't think, anyway.
Yeah, and the second run with Chelsea, as you said, was like nowhere near comparison to his first. It was almost like he shouldn't have gone back that well. Like, he's like, Chelsea completed it, don't return.
Yeah,
he was running out of clubs as well,
Sorry, Barry, go on.
Yeah, he was like Mourinho. He was running out of clubs, and now he's definitely running out of clubs. Next up, Liverpool. I don't know what the situation is. Mourinho, like he's almost like he's used. I feel like he's almost used all of his energy, and I can't see like another step. Like, not everyone's Alex Ferguson, and some people just. He used a lot of his energy when he was younger, so I don't know if he has. Does he have that much left to go again? Does he believe Spurs are going to ever get into the Champions League, and if not, win it? And like, if he doesn't believe in that, then that's not really going to bring the best out of Mourinho as well. But I can't see Spurs getting into the top four either.
I think you'd have to judge Mourinho, I think, on next season's achievements, I think, to officially judge his kind of job at Spurs.
Obviously, like, things can change. Things can change. But Sheffield United currently coming seventh. Like a lot of the Irish lads, we gave a shout out to Didsy for signing a new contract. Lads, if you had a yes or no, do you think Sheffield United are going to get into the top four? Because
yes,
you think they're going to get top four? Yeah.
No, not top four, top six. I hope. I'd love to see them get. It'd be a great achievement for them.
Right.
I've really enjoyed watching them this season, to be fair.
Whose story's been better though, lads? Wolves' story this season or Sheffield United? Which story?
Definitely Sheffield United. Sheffield United, Chris Waller, the way he plays is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, they've gone in there and battled with all the big boys, and they've held their own. I think they're, Chris Waller easy can rival Jurgen Klopp for manager of the year. And if anything, I give to Chris Waller, because you told me Liverpool were really dominant based on last year, and we're going to win the league. I go, yeah, I believe it. If you told me at the start of this season Sheffield United were going to be challenging for the top six and even top four, I would have laughed at you. So, like, in terms of expectations meeting reality, Chris Waller has done an absolute phenomenal job. My only concern for them, if they do get top six and they do get Europa League, is how will that affect their league run next year, and will that mean a dog fight at a relegation battle?
I think it's a huge achievement for them as well, though, because you look at Wolves, they obviously got Europe a while after coming up, but the players that they had already were already really Premier League quality, top half players like Neves and Patricio, the keeper, as well. All really good players and national team players for Portugal. So they had we all know Ireland is Ireland, and they're on no level or capacity to Portugal. So going in there with three, if you want to include Robinson, you could say four, but three definite players who play most games for them, and they're going for Europe. I think it's a great achievement. A lot of their players were kind of castaways, players given away, and they kind of just picked them up. And Chris Wilder has done an absolutely unbelievable job in bringing them through and just getting them to where they are. Whatever way they finish the season, it's going to be an achievement. But I like. Ideal situation, Wolves win the Europa League and get Champions League next year, so they have European football, and Sheffield United would finish in the top six. Happy days for everyone, all involved.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think we might as well move straight into Wolves as well.
Yeah, hold on. If Wolves were played to Sheffield United in a 2-game playoff, who do you think will win it?
Wolves.
I'd have to fancy Wolves. As Paul said, they came into the Premier League with one of the best squads that anyone's come into the Premier League with. I don't know how Ruben Neves signed for Wolves and went unrivaled. Obviously, that Jorge Mendes link there is something frightening, the Portuguese. But, you look at Rui Patricio, Portuguese international goalkeeper, Ruben Neves, he's a linchpin in both the Portugal and Wolves midfield. Raul Jimenez up front, people are looking to buy him for £50 million pounds now. Diego Jota. Adama Traore, if he can continue to improve on his footballing skills, will be one of the most dangerous players the Premier League have ever seen. So, like, that Wolves team could, easily
João
surpass us.
Moutinho as well.
Yeah, that the sort of genie in midfield. That Wolves team on its day, the starting 11, Matt Doherty, a right back, phenomenal. Connor Cody, Bowley, they could actually rival, say, an Arsenal starting 11, or a Leicester starting 11, or a Spurs starting 11. You know what I mean? Like, if you did like a combined 11 between like Wolves and any of those teams, like Wolves would fight for 5 or 6 spots in that team. And when it comes down to it, like Wolves are one of the better teams in the Premier League these days.
Doesn't it go to show Wolves and Sheffield United, 2 teams with settled squads, and look what it can be achieved when that happens.
Well, I think what you said there about Jimenez, and obviously during the coronavirus, I had a fair few of the Irish players on, and lots of them said your man Raúl Jimenez up front is up there with some of the best players they've played, but that was including the likes of Mane and Aguero. So just goes to show how good he is.
Yeah, people seem to be singing his praises, and like he's been linked to all the top clubs. So it'll be very interesting to see when they hold on to him. I think they will, just because he's probably happy there, and there seems to be that sort of Hispanic vibe at the club there. Well, I don't know if Portuguese is Hispanic as well, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Mediterranean vibes or whatever.
He's Mexican, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Well, I think they all sort of speak Spanish or Portuguese. Yeah. So like they have that good lingo. And I keep on forgetting Adama Traore is declared for Spain as well.
Yeah, they'll be having paella rather than pies after the game. But right, we'll look at the top 5 now, right? Obviously, United are sitting 5th. They're on 45 points. Chelsea are on 48 points. Leicester City are on 53 points. Man City are on 57. And Liverpool are winning with 82. So realistically, like, Liverpool are going to come first. Man City are going to come second. But there is 3 or 4 teams battling now for a 3rd and 4th position. So, like, looking at United now, probably the biggest squad in the league. And there's 9 games left from Paul. We start with you. What do you think is going to happen with Manchester United when they come back?
Well, I think United kind of all the teams will probably benefit from having players back. Like, I know we spoke earlier about Pogba, Rashford, and these types of players. I think when Rashford was ruled out, I think it was a big loss for Man United fans. So, yeah, but it's funny because at the start of the season, people were talking about Rashford leaving and stuff like that, which I thought was crazy. So I think it will kind of benefit from that, and I think if they can get off to a good start against Spurs, it'd be interesting to see how they actually get on from there and kind of see if they go on a run or whatever. I think Solskjaer has been unlucky in some cases. Now, I haven't been following United as closely as they probably would have in recent years, and you will probably give me a better lowdown on this because you follow them more so than I would. So to see like the likes of Pogba back, I don't know what the story was with him. I mean, there was rumours he was injured, then he was seen dancing at parties and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see whether he's actually back and playing and in the squad, because as I said, there's been rumour that he was back, then he was injured. No one knew what was going on. So I think I'd like to see, for Solskjaer's point of view, just get a few runs, because no matter what he does, he just seems to get stick no matter what.
Okay.
You know what to say, Paul. When the tunes are good, you have to get bopping.
See, this was also when there was Paul Pogba's midfield as well. Now that Bruno's after coming in, a lot of people forgot we even had Pogba because he wasn't there. And now Pogba's come back into a team where he's not the main man, and he's not on the penalties, he's not on the free kicks, he's not on the throw-ins. He's probably not even the DJ at the moment as well, because Bruno Fernandes is just it's his team now. And I wouldn't even be. I don't even think it'd be 100% great idea to throw Pogba back in to start against Spurs, because the midfield, like, Fred definitely deserves to play, and then so does Matic and so does McTominay. But McTominay was injured going into it, so I think it should be Bruno, Fred, and Matic to start, because those 3 were doing really well leading into it, rather than. And then because like Rashford should definitely start on the left. On the right is going to be Dan James today, and then up front Martial. So they already have a click, and then bring Pogba on, maybe, or I mean, there's a lot of games we played, and there's no point of really rushing them back in, because like Pogba and Fernandes both started together against West Brom there in the friendly, and I know it's a friendly, but they still lost. And then Pereira played the other game, scored 2. I don't think it's a good idea to start Pogba right back in, because I think they should prove a point and be like, look, you have to earn yourself back into this team, mate. Like,
Would you play Rashford on the left instead of Martial or instead down the
No,
middle?
Martial down the middle, Rashford on
Okay.
the left, Dan James on the right.
Does that happen much?
Yeah.
That's it.
But
That's
like
the starting
Rashford.
front three.
Yeah, but Rashford hasn't played with Bruno either. So like to put two new players in that haven't played with Bruno, who's been our best player, I don't think is a good idea. So I'd go without Pogba. I don't know. Ross, what about yourself?
For me, the way I look at it, I don't mind. Let's say we start with your formation. You start there, and then maybe even if it's 0-0 at half time, or if they're not winning, if they're a goal down at half time, you take off Matic, you bring on Pogba, or if it's 0-0, because like in fairness, at this stage, Matic is probably a bit not match fit, and he's getting a bit older. Give him 45 minutes, and give Pogba 45 minutes. If you have your 5 substitutions, you know what I mean. I think everyone should make at least one substitution at half time if things aren't going their way. In terms of top 4 for United, I definitely see it feasible. Right, you really showed your colours in what's called in being a Man United fan when you start off and like, right lads, let's talk about the top 5. I don't think anyone's ever called it the top 5 before in the history of the Premier League. But here we are. I suppose it is the top 5 because especially Man City's Champions League ban is upheld as well, that those places could keep on sliding down into 5th and 7th. But I think Man United should target Leicester and be like, if we finish ahead of Leicester, we'll guaranteed be in the top 4. I think that's where the aim should be. I think they can do it. I think, as you said, like they have the best squad possibly in the league at the moment, especially in midfield in the middle of the park. And that's something that United haven't been able to say for a very long time. Their midfield has been quite poor, but like they have 5 or 6 midfielders that are quite strong. Obviously, defensively, Wan-Bissaka is, I call him the best right back in the Premier League. I know people say Trent Alexander-Arnold, but like you don't get considered the best right back for having 12 assists. You get considered the best right back for making the most tackles. You're a defender first. Harry Maguire has been solid enough. Be interested to see who he gets put part alongside it. And then Shaw and Williams have been pushing each other all year. So I think there's plenty of firepower up front, and I'd be very, very hopeful United will get into top 4. And I think they have been doing a lot of sort of convivial work together. And I rate their chances a lot higher than Chelsea and Leicester.
Just finish off there, Ross. United's getting top 4, yes or no?
Yes.
Paul, first of all, what do you think Bruno Fernandes and Pogba are going to be like together? And also, do you think they're going to get top 4?
Well, I'd be interested to see if they can play together. As you said, they played in a friendly or whatever. I wouldn't really be judging it off that, but I don't know. It's going to be one of those things. We just have to see how that one plays out. And if they can play together, I mean, good players can play with each other. Let's be honest. So
that's the Lampard and Gerrard.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not joking. But they didn't play each other every week, so
exactly. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So it's just you just have to let that one play out. I don't think United will get top 4. I think they'll finish top 6, but I think Leicester have what's that? So they're 53 points. United have 45. I actually think Leicester will go strong till the end. I think they'll finish in the top 4. I think United, the best chance is catching Chelsea. Chelsea have been so up and down this season. You don't know what Chelsea team's going to turn up. Whereas I think Leicester, I know they've dropped off a little bit, but I still think the break would probably do them because they don't have the biggest squad. So I think the break would have actually done them well. So now they can finish with the 9 games to go. Whereas I think Chelsea, they've such an inconsistent squad because there's so much youth there that you don't know what Chelsea. I remember Everton hammered them early on in the season, then got hammered by them there not too long ago. So it's going to depend on whether they can catch Chelsea, in my opinion. Did you see? I just wanted to say because you touched on Harry Maguire, but I've seen a tweet on he put out basically a screenshot of a run, and it was from like 2 months ago or something, and he put it up, and some fella put it up the tweet to show. He's like, "Why did you put that up from 2 months ago? It's the exact same map." And he blocked him, so I think he was caught basically lying about going for a run, which I thought was quite funny.
We've all done that.
So I just thought that was funny. Like,
what's called they're pouring the water out of a cup all over yourself, and then go on Instagram stories, be like, "Lads, this was a great run."
I must find it and send it to you. It was funny because the fella put up a thing of like showing that he was blocked then from him, so he obviously caught him rapid. Like,
that's good.
Stop.
Yeah.
I suppose
I think United will get into. I think United will get into the top 4. And don't get me wrong, I'm really excited to see if the Bruno Pogba partnership will work. Look at like, so we're in the top four now. Chelsea, Paul, you touched on it there. Chelsea, they have a lot of players who have not got experience in the Premier League, and also they have 3 players going out of contract at the end of the year: Pedro, Willian, and Giroud. Paul, we're going to start with you. Do you think this is good or bad? Do you think that these 3 players are going to be like, right, I'm out of contract at the end of the year, I'm going to go all out? Or do you think they're like, here, do you know what, I'm not going to, I'll just hang around, you know? Because that could also cost disharmony, and Chelsea have been known to have a very disruptive change room.
I think it could work out actually badly for Chelsea, because if you think about it, you know, if any of those players get injured, they're missing out on a big money move to wherever. So if like Willian or something pulls his hamstring, running too well, I don't think he's that fast, but if you say he's running too fast, right?
He's fast enough.
Yeah, but he's like 32 or something now, isn't he? So like he has pretty much one big move left.
He's waiting for Jose to call up. Be like, Jose, come over here.
It'd be interesting to see if he did go to Spurs, because Spurs originally went for him and then he went to Chelsea last minute. So that would be interesting. But it's going to come down to those types of things. I think someone like Giroud, I think he kind of wears his heart on his sleeve. I think he will give us all for the team.
Yeah.
Pedro, I think he's like that too. I don't think Pedro's. Whereas I look at Willian, and I don't think he was too happy about, you know, having to go back and stay and finish off the season. I think he wanted to go back to Brazil, wait for the season to finish, get a new contract, or let his contract fizzle out, and then get a new one. So I think the only real kind of bad spark in that group would be Willian. I don't even know if he comes across as a bad lad or anything like that. Like, I've never really heard any bad stories about him. But the fact that he wanted to stay in Brazil and stuff kind of says to me he doesn't really want to be there.
Ross?
Yeah, look, I think Chelsea's biggest problem is going to be the inconsistency. If you take the Chelsea signings, like Ziyech and Werner, that seems to be coming. I think Ziyech is confirmed. I think Werner's just waiting to do personally. If you put them in that team now, I think they'd be almost a dead cert for top 4. Like, they're 2 quality signings for next season. I think Chelsea will be good for next season. But whether this Chelsea team that comes back, like, am I really sold on Tammy Abraham as, like, you know, the guy who's going to lead the line for Chelsea? No, and neither are they. So, like, that's going to be definite confidence knock to him that, like, they're looking to replace him. Pulisic, he looked good, but, like, he's come back off injury. Is he fit? Probably not. Mason Mount kicked off well, but, like hasn't been that great consistently either. So, like, definitely a lack of consistency in that Chelsea team. And, like, I'm not overly keen on the defence. I think having players like Kante and Jorginho was, like, really saved them a lot this year. They've been, you know, sort of the mainstays in the team. So I think they will drop off, and I think United will be able to catch them, and I think they will fall outside the top 4.
Yeah, without massively getting into detail about Leicester, because obviously City are going to come second, Liverpool are going to win it. Do you think that Leicester will come third, lads?
I don't know about third, but I definitely think they'll finish in the top 4. I mentioned already, I don't want to go too much into them, but I did mention that I think that the break would do them the world of good, especially because they've a smaller squad, and I think that they will have all been recuperating quite nicely now, and for them to come in fresh off the back of that, I mean, because of the style of play in which they play, it's very intense and very, you know, they get on top of you from the minute go. So I think players like Vardy and stuff like that, I think it'll probably be beneficial for those. I think you touched on the top of the show that he was the top scorer in the Premier League at the moment. So I think he'll be looking to finish the season as the Premier League top scorer. So I think he'll have that extra incentive to try and get more goals. And you look around, like they've Iheanacho, who's good off the bench for them, and stuff like that. They've Tielemans. I know I'm probably missing a few off the top of my head, you know, but they've a good squad as well. Like Ben Chilwell's really good at left back. They've Pereira right back, that Turkish lad with Johnny Evans,
Soyuncu. Yeah.
Soyuncu. Yeah, we all said it 3 different ways.
Yeah. And they have a top class keeper in Kasper Schmeichel as well. So they have the bones of a really, really good squad there. I forgot James Maddison as well. Sorry. So they do have top players within the squad. I think with giving them a break rather than them maybe going on throughout the season. And I think the wheels were starting to come off a little bit. Maybe that was fatigue or anything like that. But I think a lot of their players will be fresh now. So.
Yeah, Paul, you sort of like said what I was going to say. I actually love their midfield. I think Ndidi, Tielemans, and Maddison could rival any midfield in the league. I think they're almost underrated and underpraised. Obviously, right back Pereira and left back Chilwell are class, and Vardy is like an absolute goal machine. So I just look at them and think they'll still finish in the top 4 as well. I just think they're a very, very good side. And Brendan Rodgers is a brilliant manager for them. And I actually think he's the perfect manager for them, to be honest. He's going to do wonders for them. And I think it'll be great to see them if they can get that bit of financial backing to constantly reinvest. And they could be a mainstay in the top 4 for years to come. So that's my take on them. Baz?
Yeah.
Go on.
No, I'd agree with what you say. They are a very entertaining team. The only pity is age, which comes down to Jamie Vardy. He's not as much as an Energizer bunny running up the front, running up top. Who are they really going to have to hang their hat on? That'll be interesting to see, because obviously it won't be like a Harry Kane type, because they need someone who's Speedy Gonzalez around there. But obviously, I think we're all going to agree Man City are going to come second. Liverpool are going to win the league. Paul, I know you were out to derail them now this week with everything, but can we agree on that? Liverpool first, Man City second.
Yeah, I just want to go back to Leicester for 2 secs.
Yeah,
I think the fact that they obviously won the league a few years ago, I think that would stand to them as well. I think they've still got some players within that squad who will be able to kind of build from having that title success, be able to finish in the top 4 because they have that experience. Obviously, it's not winning the league, but it's something to hold on to, and I think they'll have that within the squad. But Liverpool first, Man City second, and I don't think, I think that's the only guarantee that we have within the league. In terms of spots.
There's not many people left in that Leicester team that have won the league, though.
Well, Schmeichel did, didn't he?
Schmeichel,
Vardy. Well, they're the 2 star players as well. Like,
I know, but bar that, like,
Brighton.
Morgan still there?
Yeah, Wes Morgan, I think, is actually like club captain still. But like, I think
he's on. I think Casper Schmeichel is, but like Morgan doesn't get a game really, does he?
Yeah,
I get what you mean.
He's around the dressing room and stuff.
Yeah, he's hanging around. He's like, lads.
Well, in fairness, Johnny Evans also won the Premier League with Man United, so like there are winners there.
Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah, I get you. But,
and Pereira won the league with Porto.
There you go. Right here, lads. I want to get your predictions for the top 5, right? So because Liverpool and City are going to come first and second, so who are going to push in? Because I think what's going to has to be done is Man City won't be allowed in the Champions League next year. That's the rules. You break the rules, you're out. So
are we saying Champions League qualifiers then, are we?
Yeah. So third, fourth, and fifth, what 3 teams along with Liverpool, and definitely Man City should not be allowed in. That's the rules. What 3 teams are going to qualify for the Champions League? You can say third, fourth, and fifth, whatever order you want, because I'm going to
Leicester, Man United, Chelsea.
All right.
Paul's there going Everton, Sheffield United, and Brighton.
So you're saying the three after Man City?
Yeah, so third, fourth, and fifth that will get the Champions League spots.
I think I don't see much change in there. I think Wolves will do okay, but I don't think they'll climb above Man United.
You're gonna come out with something spicy, man. You know.
No, but just looking at it, it'd probably be better to give a prediction on it after this week. That'll probably be the best thing to do.
I know, but like for the end of the season, man, you have no problem saying who the lads are going to get relegated. Like, you know.
But I'm just giving my honest opinion is that I don't see anyone catching Leicester, Chelsea, United at this point. Arsenal, I think I think Arsenal, Spurs, Sheffield United, and Wolves, they'll all be fighting each other for a spot to finish 6th. And I think that'll be more spicy than the top 5, to be honest with you. I just, at this point in time, I just can't see it. I think that's how it will play out. Sorry if that's a bit boring, but that's just how I see it.
No, Paul, we brought you on for like, if that's fine. That's actually. Oh, I agree. I think they were coming third, fourth, and fifth right now are going to be the teams in the Champions League spots as well. But obviously, before we wrap things up, lads, there is games to be this week. I'm very excited, actually. Right, so who wants to go first with the predictions, lads? Because we're going to kick it off at Aston Villa
I will.
On Wednesday. Okay, Ross.
Go on, Ross.
I don't know if you have to give a result, really. But, I mean, like a scoreline prediction. But
we'll just give the scores. It's just as easy, isn't it?
Yeah, fire ahead.
Right. Aston Villa, 0. Sheffield United, 0. What a way to bring back the Premier League.
Okay,
and then Man City 4.
Oh, Paul, you fire ahead.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, Villa versus Sheffield United. Who are you backing for that?
2-1 to Sheffield United.
I want to watch Paul's Sheffield United Villa game, not mine.
I'll agree.
I'm playing it on FIFA.
I'll agree with Paul there. Yeah, okay, Paul, you fire ahead. Man City versus Arsenal.
Did Ross give his?
Yeah, no,
we'll go around the house, will we? All right, go on, Paul. You go first there then.
All right. 3-1 City.
Yeah, Ross.
Grand. I was going to say 4-0 City.
I'll go.
Poor David Luiz.
I'll go 2-0 City. Okay, Norwich versus Southampton. I'll go 1-1. Ross.
Oh Jesus. I'll say 2-1 Norwich.
2-1 Southampton.
We should have just said draw, win, or loss, or whoever wins. Okay, Spurs versus Man U. Paul.
United to win 2-0.
Yeah, I agree. I like that 2-0 score as well.
I'll go with that as well. Watford versus Leicester. I'll go Leicester 2-0. Paul.
Same.
I'm going to say 2-2. I think Watford are going to come out of the traps fast.
Okay, Brighton versus Arsenal. Ross.
I'm going to say 1-1.
I actually think Brighton might benefit from the fact that Arsenal play beforehand. So I'm going to say 2-1 to Brighton.
It's actually a good show. I'll say 1-0 Arsenal. West Ham versus Wolves. I'll go 2-0 Wolves. Ross.
2-1 Wolves.
I'm going to say 2-1 West Ham.
Okay. Bournemouth versus Palace. Paul.
Oh, this is a real
shit game.
2-2. Yeah. 2-2.
Paul, you have too much faith in those guys scoring goals. I'm going to say 0-0.
Yeah, I'll be on
There's some
that.
good attacking players on display there. Zaha and so on.
Wilson, King.
True. Okay, Newcastle versus Sheffield United. Ross.
I'm going to say 2-1 Sheffield United.
Same.
Or Steve Bruce.
I'll go 2.
No, you can't choose the same now, Barry. You have to give your own.
No, I said 2-2.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Villa versus Chelsea. I'll go Chelsea 2-1. Paul.
Chelsea 3-1.
Chelsea 3-0.
Okay, Everton versus Liverpool. Paul.
I gotta say 1-0 because it's at Goodison. I know there's no fans or anything like that, but at home we tend to do okay generally, and it's usually 1-0 with us taking the lead.
Are you ready for this, Paul? Are you ready?
5-0.
2-1 to Everton. Richarlison with a brace. Get your money down on that.
I like that. I find it so hard to be optimistic about Merseyside there because you look at our record. I mean, we haven't beaten them since Tim Cahill scored that goal in 2000. I think it was 2010. Seamus Coleman actually set that up when he was only breaking into the team, and that's how far back that was. So that's like 10 years. We have a serious curse against these. It would be great to break it at a perfect time to break it, but I just don't think until Ancelotti gets a real stronghold on that team and changes its mentality. They have a weak mentality, and I don't think that they have the mentality to beat Liverpool. I would hope I'm wrong, but I hope it is 2-1, like you say, but I just can't see it.
Yeah, Ancelotti seems to have a team that has so many philosophies going on at once, so many different manager signings. You know what I mean? I think he almost needs like that Ollie, sort of a Solskjaer, sort of his go at the full whack, you know? Like when you have a manager that good, get him the players he wants. I'm actually going to go Liverpool to win that game 2-1. And then we are coming back this time next week, but Man City are taking on Burnley at 8 o'clock that night, so we'll just go for a prediction then for this day next week.
For that game?
Paul, you go ahead first. Man City versus Burnley.
I got to go City win 3-0.
Okay, 3-0.
Yeah, I like City 3-1.
Ross goes City 3-1, and I'll go 2-0 City. All right, so I actually have all the predictions there. So obviously, at the
Can't
end
wait to see how wrong we all are.
Oh man, it's going to be hilarious. But there will be the king next week, and we'll know. It'll be funny if it gets
king of the picks.
Yeah, well, we can do this every week. It'll be enjoyable. Right, so that actually wraps everything up, lads. It's been a good crack. Premier League is back, so we decided to do a show together. Shout out to Rec Kids. They actually said you lads should start doing a show together, and I was like, you know what? I was told people enjoy this, so we may as well do it again. Obviously, next week it won't be as long because we don't have to go through everything that like what has happened in between, but it can be like what the sort of crack is, you know. But at least people who checked out the show now know what to look forward to, know what's sort of going on, know our picks. And lads, it's always good crack talking football. Ross, anything else to say before we wrap it up? Before Paul
No,
wraps it up?
Paul, thanks a million for coming on. Make sure to check out Paul's content over on Irish Football Fan TV. If you type that into any platform, his stuff should be the first stuff there, and you should be able to find it. Make sure to like.
Especially on Pornhub.
Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and as always,
Has Paul got anything else to say?
Well, I do think, I've really enjoyed it, so thanks very much for having me on. It's just secondly, I think next week's actually show will be better because we'll have more talking points because we'll actually have the big games played and there'll be stuff more so to talk about. I know we've kind of rambled on a little bit about other things, but right now it's predictions, whereas next week we'll actually have stuff to actually talk about within games and stuff like that, which would be much more to look forward to. Like,
yeah, no, absolutely brilliant. Paul, thanks a million for coming on the show. Make sure to stay energized because this time next week, someone's going to be the king of the picks.
Yeah. Who do you think's going to win? I was just going to say Paul for the crack. I don't know. No way of judging it. Like,
I'm going to say me because you should always be confident in your own ability.
Okay, right, grand. Paul, say me, just be saying, will you?
I'm going to say Barry.
Good man, right? So there we go. Ross, you're getting booed. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and as always,
stay energized.